Hey everybody, welcome to Reading the Bible to Cats. Guster? Guster. I don't know, I was trying to do a kitty voice and so that voice that sounded like a creepy voice coming out of my mouth. Sorry you guys. I do have all kinds of character voices, but that one was a little creepy. I had a little frog in my throat, that was a problem. Now I can't keep a straight face. Let me try that again. Take two. Kitty voice, take two. Guster, are you ready to hear the Bible? I think you are. Are you ready? I think you are. Okay, well, let's jump into it. Okay, so we're going to read First Corinthians chapter 7. And this one is a lot of, it's about marital relations. So yeah, so let's read about that. Guster, you're not interested in marital relations. No, but that's okay. Let's um let's just jump in and read it. Now, for the matters you wrote about, it is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman. But since sexual immorality is occurring, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. I say this as a concession, not as a command. I wish that all of you were as I am, but each of you has your own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that. Now, to the unmarried and the widows, I say, it is good for them to stay unmarried, as I do. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. To the married I give this command, not I, but the Lord. A wife uh, a wife must not separate from her husband, but if she does, she must remain unmarried, or else be reconciled to her husband, and a husband must not divorce his wife. To the rest I say this, I, not the Lord. If any brother has a wife who is not a believer, and she is willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has a husband who is not a believer, and he is willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but as it is, they are holy. But if the unbeliever leaves, let it be so. The brother or the sister is not bound in such circumstances. God has called us to live in peace. How do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband, or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife? Nevertheless, each person should live as a believer in whatever situation the Lord has assigned to them, just as God has called them. This is the rule I lay down in all the churches. Was a man already circumcised when he was called? He should not become uncircumcised. Was a man uncircumcised when he was called? He should not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing. Keeping God's commands is what counts. Each person should remain in the situation they were in when God called them. Were you a slave when you were called? Don't let it trouble you, although if you can gain your freedom, do so. For the one who was a slave when called to faith in the Lord is the Lord's freed person. Similarly, the one who was free when called is Christ's slave. You were bought with a price. Do not become slaves of human beings. Brothers and sisters, each person as responsible to God should remain in the situation they were in when God called them. Now, about virgins, I have no command from the Lord, but I give a judgment as one who, by the Lord's mercy, is trustworthy. Because of the present crisis, I think that it is good for a man to remain as he is. Are you pledged to a woman? Do not seek to be released. Are you free from such a commitment? Do not look for a wife. But if you do marry, you have not sinned, and if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. But those who marry will face many troubles in this life, and I want to spare you this. What I mean, brothers and sisters, is that the time is short. From now on, those who have wives shall live as if they do not, those who mourn as if they did not, those who are happy as if they were not, those who buy something as if it were not theirs to keep, those who use the things of the world as if not engrossed in them. For this world in its present form is passing away. I would like you to be free from concern. An unmarried man is concerned about the Lord's affairs, how he can please the Lord, but a married man is concerned about the affairs of this world, how he can please his wife, and his interests are divided. An unmarried woman or virgin is concerned about the Lord's affairs. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord in both body and spirit, but a married woman is concerned about the affairs of this world, how she can please her husband. I'm saying this for your own good, not to restrict you, but that you may live in a right way, in undivided devotion to the Lord. If anyone is worried that he might not be acting honorably toward the virgin he's engaged to, and if his passions are too strong and he feels he ought to marry, he should do as he wants. He's not sinning. They should get married. But the man who has settled the matter in his own mind, who is under no compulsion but has control over his own will, and who has made up his mind not to marry the virgin, this man also does the right thing. So then, he who marries the virgin does right, but he who does not marry her does better. A woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives, but if her husband dies, she is free to marry anyone she wishes. But he must belong to the Lord. In my judgment, she is happier if she stays as she is, and I think that I too have the Spirit of God. Okay, well, that is the end of 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Esther, what do you think about marriage and all of that? I don't think that's a concern anymore because that was kind of taken care of early on for you. Yeah, you're happy and you are happier. I think you're happy that you're not married. You've got your brother and you love him and me and you've got your, got lots of love. Right, Guster? Right? Right, Gussie? You're really listening today. Guster's really listening. Wow. Guster, you're a good listener. Oh, I didn't mean to embarrass you. Okay, everybody. Oh, and Henry's listening too. He's on the floor, just staring up at me. Aw, that's sweet. Well, about this passage, I mean, I think it pretty much speaks for itself. I don't know. I'm not sure I have a whole lot to say about it. But it sounds like from the passage that Paul was single and he was happy about that. You know what I mean? No shame in being single, people. Yeah, it's interesting because I think the world really, and the church really emphasize married life. But, Paul seems to think that you're happier if you're single, which is what I'm getting from this passage anyway. Jesus was single, but of course we're the bride of Christ, so, and that's another topic for another day. The mystery. All right, everyone. Well, let's see. Oh, this is 10 minutes already. Let me say a prayer. And then tomorrow, I think we'll read Deuteronomy, continue with that. Okay. Esther, you want to pray with me? Okay. I pray. Lord, thank you for life, even though we have trials and tribulations which are not fun. We know that you have overcome the world, and we know that it is a battle. It is a war, this side of eternity. It's not always smooth sailing, but the weapons of our warfare is different from what the world's weapons are in war. Our weapons are prayer and worship and faith and the word, love, and just turning to you. And interesting how it's upside down. You know, your kingdom operates on a different level than the world with its wars and warfare and weapons. So we take the shield of faith, or I take the shield of faith because I need the shield of faith right now. And we just come before you, come before your holy throne of grace. I pray for everyone who's listening or watching. I just ask that you reveal yourself to them and bless them. And me too, you know, by revealing your heart to us and your goodness. And I'm committed to praying for the peace of Israel and for the peace of Jerusalem and for the Jewish people, your people, Lord, who are facing so much anti-Semitism lately, which I know is prophetic, but it doesn't make it easier. But just pray for, just that you would comfort your people through the church, through your people and your spirit. And I also pray for the suffering people in Gaza, that you keep revealing yourself to them, and pray for the hostages, Lord. Please release them miraculously. We just pray for your goodness. And again, I pray for your kingdom, that your kingdom would come and your will would be done on earth as it is in heaven. And be our shepherd and guide us. And I pray for anyone who's lonely or feels isolated or left out, that you would change that for them, and that they would know they aren't alone, and that you promise never to leave them nor forsake them, and bring them friends and community and support and love. Say these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody. Say a prayer for me too. Esther, you want to say a prayer for me? You look like you want to say a prayer. He's such a good listener lately. Esther, you're such a good listener. I have to use my kitty voice in praise of you. It's funny because Henry's looking at me too. It just cracks me up. Let's see if I can. See? Custer? Custer? You're such a good listener. Wow, I feel like I shouldn't end this video because you're listening to my every word here. Oh, okay. Maybe you're giving me permission. Is it time to go to bed? I think it's time to go to bed. Okay, everybody, we're gonna go to bed. Good night.